shit, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing out there? This is Intergalactic Interviews, and this is episode 82. Ooh, it's long overdue. Long overdue. And if I may say so, I want to jump into this right away. But before we do that, we have to let you know about some amazing opportunities here. Some really, really, really cool let's just be honest, it's basically a giveaway if you think about the promotional aspect of it. We're talking about floathouse.ca. If you like isolation tanks, if you like anything to do with that experience, my God, are you going to love Floathouse. Go to floathouse.ca, check out all the locations they have. I believe they have 5 locations?
5 locations.
5 locations, as we recently just looked up. Not 9, as previously reported in the last podcast, but I'm sure they're growing. They're growing every day.
They'll get there.
They'll get there. Yeah, they'll make it work. But they're super awesome. They're super clean. You get your own private little, like float stall. You have like your own room. You get your own house coat. It's basically a spa for your mind. It's really tranquil. It's really rad. It's super nice. I think if you try it out, you'll love it. And if you do want to try it out and you're in the Lower Mainland, and you're in Vancouver area, or maybe you're coming here for a holiday and you want to check something out, use your time wisely, you come here, you want to use our podcast promo code IIPodcast. That's lowercase I, podcast. It's not cap sensitive, but some people think it's nautical, and it's not. It's not II podcast like a sailor. It's II podcast. So if you go to floathouse.ca right now, you want to book your next float, or you come in person, give them their podcast promo, II podcast. You get 20% off your next float. It's super awesome. We float. You should float too. And that being said, let's get into our show, ladies and gentlemen. My immediate right is my special co-host. He's been here so often. He's not even special anymore. He's just a co-host. My good friend, Michael.
Special.
Michael Saavedra. Actually, it's Saavedra.
I'd like to be special.
I'm also here. We have C-Mart running the boards. He's doing video and audio, and he's fucking rad. We love C-Mart. And our illustrious guest today. Oh man, she's awesome. She's rad. She's one of the very few that joined us for the pre-game pre-drink. Probably maybe one of the few. Very, very, very few people would subject themselves to that. But that being said, our guest today, she's a headliner, touring comic. She's super fucking funny. She has a great podcast. It's called Kathleen McGee is a Hot Mess, and it's super funny. She's open for the likes of Ari Shaffir, Russel Peters, Brian Posehn. Just a bunch of killers, and she's a killer too. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Kathleen McGee.
Yeah.
Hi.
Wow.
That was fun.
That was a long-winded one. Yeah.
It was a good intro. I like when people.
Were you checking out the animals?
I was watching dingoes while you were talking. They were like dingoes.
Dangos.
With their babies.
Yeah.
Not eating them, but.
What's on there right now?
Birds and stuff.
This
is going to be a super distraction for me because I love animals and I get distracted easily.
What's your favorite animal?
Oh, that's hard. I don't know. Like, I love literally all animals. I don't like reptiles that much. Like, I like little lizards, but I don't like snakes, I don't think. But
why is it you don't like snakes?
They're a little creepy.
Gross.
Are they gross, though?
Yeah.
Saavedra?
I remember I did.
I don't like snakes either.
Well, isn't it weird that I heard that if you put a snake near any infant, regardless of cultural upbringing, the baby will cry. It just
because you just put a fucking snake in.
Yeah,
but you could put like a falcon next to a baby.
No, you
Is that why
cannot.
Yes, you can.
No, you cannot.
Is that why those cats are scared of zucchinis and cucumbers? Because they think it's a snake?
That's exactly it.
I mean, that's such a mean trick, but it's really funny.
It's really funny, but man, that's like you put your cat into like the highest extreme alert. Like, have you seen some of them jump? They're vertical. Yeah, like they jump like 9 feet in the air.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. I think the first time I saw that happen, my first thought was like, oh, that's hilarious. But then something in my mind clicked where I was like, that has got to be the same thing that makes humans afraid of snakes from like an infant age. Like whatever it is, right?
Well, I like scaring humans too, though, so I wouldn't feel bad about scaring a cat. Like, that's my favorite thing to do is to
Do you
scare.
have siblings? Did you scare
I have
siblings?
an older brother that I grew up with, and then I have 2 half-brothers and a stepsister that I did not grow up with, but I...
Nice blended family you got going on there.
Yeah, I've come from a broken home.
I come from a blended family.
Yeah. I love that's much nicer saying you're a blended family instead of a broken home.
Dr. Phil said that I should call it a blended family.
That's what you should call it.
That was the worst episode ever.
That was the worst episode. Yeah. No. I used to like to scare my my younger brothers. Now, my older brother used to kick the shit out of me.
If he's scared of?
Yeah. He's on tour right now in the States, and I don't think I could scare him ever.
What does he do that he's on tour?
He's a bass player. I want to say journeyman, but I heard the other day that that's not like a polite thing to say about someone.
About a musician?
Yeah, because he's just he's a 20-year veteran. He's been playing forever. He's currently driving right now for a band called The Freeze in the States. I don't know. He just left like a week ago or something. Yeah. I don't know.
That's great. I'm totally a gypsy. I don't like. I've
You're
been in
a
Vancouver
wanderer.
for 2 years, and now I'm already like, ugh. But I do love my house, so I don't really want to leave it.
Fair.
Like, is it that you have like really comfy stuff, or is it?
No, I love my house. Like, I got a great house. Like, it's got like a clawfoot tub and a shower and a full gourmet kitchen, and yeah, I love. It's the best house I've ever lived in, even compared to the homes I lived in growing up.
A clawfoot tub is pretty crazy. I think I've only seen them in hotels. I don't think I've ever actually.
I cut my forehead open on a clawfoot tub when I was 2. And my parent, they couldn't freeze my eye. So my parents had to wrap me in a blanket.
I don't know why that's funny. I'm sorry.
It is funny. I think I got stitches at least once every 6 months when I was a kid. I was like super accident prone. I would constantly be getting. I stepped into a box filled with those Christmas bulbs. Remember those old
Yes.
in the 80s?
The glass ones.
Yeah, like thin glass ones. My aunt was like taking down a Christmas tree, and I like walked in and like stepped in the box, and like just like my foot was just. I had to get a bunch of stitches.
You like Home Aloned yourself essentially.
I Home Alone myself. Yes. Yeah.
Like Harry and Marv.
Yeah. I just injured myself.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm very accident prone. But I've never have I broken a bone?
That's crazy that
I don't think I've ever broken a bone.
Are you like the youngest in your family?
Well, like from like my original family before it broke, yes.
Okay, because
my brother, he's 17 months older than me, but so he's not that much.
I see.
older.
Okay, yeah, but like usually the youngest is not the most injury prone.
Well, and I was the youngest of the cousins too.
Oh my god.
On that one side. So I was always shunned by all the cousins. Like they hated me because I would always tattle.
Oh, really?
Like we would go to our farm. We had a family farm in northern Alberta, and we would go up to the farm like in the summertime, and we would go steal eggs from the chickens, and then we would go throw them at the barn and stuff.
Jeez.
And then I would go back and I would tell like my uncle whose farm was like, we threw eggs at the barn, and everyone else would get in trouble, but I would never get in trouble.
Not the youngest.
Yeah.
You can't get them in trouble. You know what's funny is if you looked at the like war crime of what you did, you stole the children of these people then threw them at the home.
Yeah, I did.
That's so.
And then I sold out my brothers.
yeah, and you betrayed your family.
I was such a shit.
Jesus, that's a war crime.
One time we were playing hay bale tag. Do you guys know what that is? Did you ever grow up?
I'm sorry.
So hay bale tag is like when they've got all these hay bales all stacked up, and sometimes they're like really high, but most of the time it's just like a big like space where you. So we would jump from hay bale to hay bale, and like one person was it. And so I was jumping, but I had little legs because I was smaller than everybody. And I went to jump, and I landed like sandwiched between 2 hay bales, and I was bleeding because I was all scratched up.
Yeah,
it's like really.
Well, even the wire that holds it together is.
Well, it's just that stuff. It's not like barbed wire.
I mean.
Yeah. What do you think they're?
I don't know. My last name's McDonald, but I don't know anything about farms. I'm sorry.
It's just a razor wire bale in the corner.
I imagine it to be quite defensive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, but the hay was like really harsh. So I got stuck between these hay, and they left. They took off and left me there. And my brother's like, "Don't let the mice chew your toes off," because there were like lots of mice in there. And then like my uncle found me. I felt like days later. It might have been 20 minutes later. But I was like crying in a hay bale. He's like, "What the hell are you doing in there?"
It's like 127 hours basically. You're like stuck in a hay
Yeah,
bale.
it was awful. And they did all that. They did that shit to me all the time. And now my cousins are like, you wouldn't be so funny if it wasn't for us. Because we treated you like shit, so you had to develop a sense of humor.
Seems like the cousins are probably like, can you get me on guest list?
Yeah. No, they're all proud of me. They're proud of little Kathleen.
As they should be. You got a lot of good things going on right now. You're awesome.
Fun.
Your podcast, as we previously mentioned, Kathleen McGee is a hot mess.
You should do a little jingle for me.
Well, that one, you can just sample that.
That's essentially the jingle
right
that you just heard it.
I think it's super funny. I've checked out the debut episode. I listened to the Ari Shaffir episode. That's funny. How did this all come together? What happened?
I have had podcasts in the past. Like, I tried to do a podcast once before with another comic named Jordan Chizowski, and he was my roommate when I was living in LA. We had a bunk bed. But we had a podcast called Shooting the Poo because we wanted to be shooting the shit, but iTunes won't let you put profanity in the title. So we called it Shooting the Poo, and we got our guests off of Craigslist. So we started this in Edmonton.
What?
Yeah, he would go into Craigslist and be like, "Oh, we have a podcast if you'd like to come down." So we got a foot fetish guy, we got a dominatrix once, we got this kid who just wanted to have yo-yo fun with other people. Like,
did you have them on video or is it just audio?
No, it was just audio. We did most of them at the comic strip, and then when we lived in LA together, we did a couple at the Laugh Factory in their podcast studio.
Yeah.
But that never went through, and then when I got I had to leave the States, and then I wasn't allowed back in, so I lived in... Yeah, long story. Most people know that story.
You just breezed by that part pretty quick.
It's awful. But I'm not banned. I just... Anyway. But so then I started another one with a friend of mine, Eric Newby. He produced it, and then I did it with my friend Samson Burke, and it was called Table 9 Club. And Table 9 is the loser table at the Wedding Singer. Do you know that?
Yeah.
So
wow, what a niche reference.
Yeah, I know. I just always liked that one, so I wanted to call it that.
No, that's awesome. I like that.
So we did that for a year, and there's still podcasts available online. And I've done I did a show for XM Radio called Anything Goes with Darren Frost and Dave Martin. So I've done a ton of stuff, but it never kind of took off. And then Ari was in town, and I was opening for him at the Comedy Mix, and I was talking about how I wanted to do a podcast, but I didn't know how to do a gimmicky one so it would stand out, and he's like, "You're the gimmick." He's like, "People will listen just to listen to you."
Totally truth. 100% truth.
Yeah. So then, and I was like, "Hey, maybe." And I had taped the one that was second, the one with Jeff Lutz, the guy who was the manager of the Green Door, that swingers club.
I saw that. Yeah.
I taped that one before Ari came to town, and I told him, he's like, "Release it." So I'm like, "Would you do one?" And he's like, "Yeah." So we taped one, and he gave me all this advice on how to make it stand out, and it's really been my other podcasts have not even hit new and noteworthy or even the charts, and now this one hit the chart in the first 2 days. And
well, you're definitely getting advice from a right from the source, essentially.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's a genius when it comes to podcasting, but he's been doing it for so long, and he knows what he's doing. And
is this why you broke his ankle?
I love that everyone's like, "You broke it." I wasn't even there when he did it. He was snowing. He was skiing in Whistler. And he wanted to prove he knew what he was doing, and he went off into the trees, and then he hit his ankle.
It's a bad move.
Does he not know anything about Sonny Bono's career or life?
I think he had a helmet on, maybe, but he just Do you know that's the second time Ari's sustained injury while hanging out with me?
Really? What was the other time?
The first time was first time I met him in Toronto. I can't remember why. Anyway, I met him. I think we interviewed him for Anything Goes and stuff, and we were all hanging out. And then I took him to the Underground, which is a weed room in Toronto, the Underground Comedy Club. And I took him there to buy some weed. And when we were there, they gave us dabs, which I'd never done before in my life. And I don't think Ari had either done them, or maybe I don't know. Anyway.
Talk about your game changer.
Yeah.
I've only done it once.
I did it twice now. That's never again. The second time I did it was right before a comedy show, and I couldn't remember any jokes. It was so embarrassing.
Yeah, that's what it'll do.
It's a mind number. But so anyway, so we both did a dab, and then the lady who gave us a dab offered to drive us downtown.
Wow.
And,
okay.
I don't even think she was high. That lady is
chronic,
right. But she's awesome. But so we get out of the car at Yonge and Dundas Square, which is Times Square in Toronto.
I think it's
very small.
coordinates 00 on your maps.
Something
it's
like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
We get out of the car, and I tripped getting out of the car, and I had these stupid, shitty, foamy flip-flops on, and they broke. So I was like, shit.
Just broke?
It just broke. Well, it was a shitty pair of flip-flops.
The strap or the actual...
the strap. I tripped on it, and then it just popped off. So that was great. So I'm like, I gotta go get new shoes.
Whoops.
So thank God there's a Eaton Center right there. But then Ari's getting out of the car, and I don't know what he did, but he just had his hand right where the car door is, and he slammed his hand into the car. And all I remember was him saying, "Don't go, don't go, don't go," because she was going to go. But his hand was stuck in, and then he pulls
fully sealed?
Yeah, I'm pretty
flush?
sure it's shut. The door, yeah, I'm pretty sure. He might, maybe not, but I'm pretty sure it's shut. And then
Jesus.
he opened it and he was like, oh my God. And he was like, his hand was all fucking bleeding and
Yeah.
gross. And so I'm high and he's high and we're both like, what the fuck do we do? And so I was like, there's a Starbucks right there. So I took him into the Starbucks. I'm like, can I have a cup of ice, please? I made him stick his hand in a cup of ice and sit in the Starbucks while I went and bought new sandals because I had no shoes. So I go and buy sandals at Old Navy. It takes me about 15 minutes. And then I come back and Ari's just sitting there like in complete shock with his hand and this blood-filled, but it was red.
By the way, anyone walking by is just like, is that Ari Shaffir with his hand and a Starbucks cup of ice bleeding?
That was like at least 5 years ago. So maybe he wouldn't have been as recognizable as he probably was, but yeah.
Probably like right on the cusp.
You know that there was one person walking by that was
there's
like,
some
sure.
dude. Be like, some high dude. Like, is that Ari Shaffir?
is he bleeding out?
Yeah. Isn't anyone here taking care of you? And then
Yeah.
she's buying sandals next
Oh
door.
my God. Yeah,
Did you show off the sandals when you got back to him?
Yeah, no kidding.
I
You're
was
like,
like, I got new sandals. He's like, I need to go to a hospital. I felt kind of bad. And then I sent him off to the hospital. I'm like, well, do you want me to come and sit with you? And he's like, nah, you don't have to sit. Like, it'll be long.
he's a warrior.
Yeah. So
Totally.
he goes to this hospital. He gets in the cabin. The guy takes him to this hospital that's like 15 minutes away. And then the next day we found out there was a hospital like a block away from where we were. Oh, man. But I didn't know Toronto that well. Man. But yeah, I know. But even when he called me the next day, I swear it was still high. Like dabs, people that do dabs on a daily basis, I'm like, your brain is fried. How the fuck do you do that? Like you have to have some severe pain or something because that shit is so strong.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Mike and I, we met in college.
Yeah.
But we both used to work at this like bong factory essentially.
A bong factory?
Like essentially, like it's like a warehouse, but you're doing assembly and stuff like that. And
We work for Puff.
Puff. But it's like
that's that store, right? Okay.
the distributor though, like so it's like the parent company of Puff.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're working. Anyway, I haven't worked there in many years, but I was very blessed to get an invitation last summer to their like 20th anniversary, like insane.
gosh.
Yeah. So they did one of those things you see in BC, like go around the bay, Falls Creek, and all that.
Yeah.
So we get on this like chartered boat. It's like got to be like what 150,
gosh.
200 people or something like that.
Yeah, about 200,
Yeah, about 200
300 people.
So
yeah.
it's like 200 personally invited guests of Puff. So like everyone there is like sometimes you go in a room and you're like, I wonder if this guy's cool. Is this guy down?
Yeah,
Like
they're
it's
all
like
cool.
It's just 200 characters essentially.
They're too cool.
Yeah. So I was like hanging out. I had a single Jack Daniels, okay, and. I enjoy Jack Daniels, but having one, I was like, okay, this is not bad. This is pretty dope. Look, the sun's setting. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
A friend of ours, Wolf, who plays for this band right now, The Reaction, he waves me over and says, "Oh, James, you want to do a dab?" And I was like,
Is that how he talks?
That's exactly how he talks, yeah.
Does he have one of those voice modulators
He's like,
in his throat?
no, James, I don't talk like that. But he does talk like that. Anyway, he says, "Do you want to do a dab?" And I said, I was like, "I've never done it."
There's me in the back.
Yeah, Saavedra's like,
No.
don't.
No.
Especially not on a boat.
So I've never done it.
no.
So I was like, yeah, let's do this. I mean, when I worked at Puff, I was smoking weed like 8 times a day or something like that. Like, and then I'd go home and smoke personal like twice or something.
Oh, so you're super chronic.
Super chronic. I went from that to like now I smoke maybe 4 times a year, maybe.
Yeah.
I actually smoked a bit today. I went and cleaned my house on indica, but blah blah blah. Who does that? Okay. Anyway, so I go to do these dabs, and all I see is Wolf say, "Okay, just and I'm like, oh, I know how to smoke weed. You don't have to tell me." And he's like, well, okay, if that's what you think.
No.
So I just take like huge haul on this like this contraption.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a huge haul on this.
It looks cool though because it goes like
right. Yeah.
It looks pretty.
Super cool chambers.
Yeah.
So as I'm sucking the smoke in, I'm taking this like it's marijuana. So I'm just like, oh, here we go, hidden back weed, not realizing it's a pure THC. And so I'm taking this in, and like in unison, everyone around me is just like, no, because I'm just like, and they're like, oh my god. And then so I'm like holding it in, thinking it's. And I'm like, they're like, no, spit it out. So I blow it out, and I proceeded to have the closest
worst.
thing to my last shrooms trip I ever had. I went through every single emotion. I was like texting my fiance at one point, and I was just like, sorry for all the things I've done. just a total fucking.
We left you alone for like a little bit, went and grabbed a few more drinks and came back, and he's just standing there on the side of the boat. I was like, so he's done. I was like, let's go find other people.
High. Yeah, I was so high on dabs that I was looking out on the bay, and there's maybe 20 people on the railing looking out, and they're just like, oh, look at there's that island, whatever the fuck. And I'm sitting there, these guys are off getting a drink because I am so high. I'm too high to be around because I'm like just quiet. When I'm quiet, things are weird kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm staring out at the bay, and I see this boat kind of like small little speedboat kind of thing coming up alongside us. And so instinctively, just super high, I'm like, oh, okay. I just pull up my shirt to expose my nipples and areolas to flash them. And I get a couple cheap laughs from people around me. And I was just like, woo, let's do it. And the woman on the boat flashed the whole boat. And so I became like this, like, I don't know, some nudity hero essentially.
Do you guys ever go to Wreck Beach?
I've traversed the stairs a few times.
I'm not a Wreck Beach person.
I love Wreck Beach.
It's interesting.
I'm going to take a podcast down there this summer. I just have to figure out who I'm going to have on it.
Are you going to really do it?
Who's going to be naked with me?
You gotta choose. Okay, the thing about podcasts is if you could choose anyone, do you want to choose the eye candy, or do you want to go for like, isn't this fucked up that I'm like here naked with?
I always want somebody that's like going to be a good interview.
You should email David Suzuki and just say
oh my God,
would you want to get naked? And
that would be amazing.
I mean, if there's anyone in touch with nature in his own body.
That's a great idea. I think I'm going to put it out there to like my listeners and stuff to like suggest people in Vancouver. Like I'm not flying anybody in, or if they know somebody that's coming into town in the summer.
Because you'd be flying their genitals in, essentially.
Yeah, that's true. I've gone a couple times. Like I've gone 3 times, and I loved it every single time. And like one time I went with this comic that I just met, and like I was like, we're going to Wreck Beach together. I'm going to see your dick in a few minutes. But the thing is, it just like doesn't matter after like a minute or two.
It's the context, right? It's not really sexual. It's like...
It's so, and swimming naked is like the greatest thing ever. Like it feels amazing to be in the ocean with no clothes on. It's so great. It's
not
like
be restricted by Billabong or otherwise.
Yeah, whatever your brand of bathing suit style is. Like I felt way more confident naked on a beach than I felt in a bathing suit on a beach.
Really?
Because everybody has flaws on that beach.
That's pretty empowering, actually.
It's a very empowering experience. Plus, you can get so fucking high down there.
You could basically do whatever you want.
Like,
the stairs on the way up, though.
They're not even that bad, though.
They're not.
I think
that
they say
good,
that
though.
so fat people don't go there. I'm not even kidding you, because I can do that. I can do that. Those stairs. It takes me about 20 minutes. I have to take a couple breaks, but they're not as bad as everybody They make them out to be like it's this horror climb. Like the stairs at Runyon Canyon are way scarier, like in some of the places than at Wreck
Some of
Beach.
the inclines, but like, I think you're onto something though. It was like. It's like an obese trap, essentially.
I think that they just don't want fat people to come down there. And so this fat bitch was like, I'll do the stairs. I don't care. I don't care.
You're fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
I
so
think,
it's fun.
I was going to say, speaking of body stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, huge rush of emotion last week with the Gomeshi shit.
Oh, God.
Okay. I saw you sounding off. I just wanted to
God.
hear a little bit of what you had to say. Because I know you have a great view on this, and I think that you have, I don't know, I know you already have a medium on your own show to talk about it, but I'd love to hear you just kind of discuss it here.
I just don't think I'll ever be as vocal as I was again on social media. I got attacked.
Did you get attacked, though?
Yeah. What was the
nature of the attacks, though? Like, what was...
The main one that really, like, got to me was this dude who I don't even know just came on and was like, women lie all the time about this kind of stuff. And he was innocent till proven guilty, and he wasn't proved guilty. And I was like, yeah, but this is like, I can't even remember. I mean, I deleted everything because he just, I hate this guy so much.
Was he like private messaging you?
No, he was posting comments, and then I was saying things to him, and then he would come back at me, and I'd be like, then I was like, who the fuck are you? Like, I don't even know who you are, and why are you coming on here?
I'm your
saying
biggest
this
fan.
kind of stuff to me.
Yeah.
And like, you're saying shitty things. You're saying women lie about this stuff.
Yeah.
When the one thing that women that this has happened to need is for people to be like, no, we believe you.
Yeah.
So you don't sound crazy. And then he just kept going and going, and then he came back at me, and he's like, listen, bitch, who the fuck are you? And he just got really violent in his words and really aggressive. And that's like the exact, he was proving my point in every comment that he was making. And then I screen capped my comments because he called me like a white trash bitch. And then I was like, he's a tattoo artist in quotes. And he had like 130 followers on Instagram. And I went and looked at his page, and I was like, hey, if you want to talk white trash, let's start with your tattoos.
Your
they're
clientele.
Terrible. And
that's right.
But I didn't want it to get personal, but he kept on coming at me. And then I finally, he sent some women after me.
What?
These girls are like, you don't know this guy. He's a good guy, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you're a cunt, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you guys, what the?
Wow.
Just go away. He came onto my page
Yeah.
and started attacking me. So of course I'm not going to agree with what he has to say, and of course I'm going to go after him.
And of course it's going to be defensive because you guys didn't meet in a neutral forum or something.
And if there's
like
a week
that,
where you're going to tell women that we're liars, that was the worst week to do it.
Not a good.
Yeah.
Clearly, I have an issue with what has happened, and clearly I was pissed off about what happened. So he just came in and trolled me. And then I went after him, and then he sent all these people after me to be like, I agree with you, but this girl's crazy. This girl doesn't like when people don't agree with her. And I was just like, so then I sent him an email. I took it down the thing, and because he had his email on his thing. I sent him an email. I'm like, listen, I took it down, but you're like, I have the emails. I should read them, but
I was gonna say what? You're engaging way too much with these fucking.
I know, but
idiots.
I let this guy get to me, and I always try to not if it's a troll. I've just gotten in the habit of just blocking immediately.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna troll me, I don't need that shit on my page. But this guy just kept coming, and then the fact that he had women coming in to call me a bitch when I was talking about the women that no one believed that got assaulted by this man. And so I was grossed out by these women that were coming in and being like, you're a bitch. This guy's great. He's this and that. He kept on calling me white trash. And I'm like, I don't know what he was. If he was like, he definitely looked ethnic. And I'm like, why are you going straight to racism on your part?
He's probably projecting like a motherfucker. He's probably projecting like a psycho.
But so the email
I like to get you riled
him,
up now.
Oh, I get riled. That's another thing is I get really riled up. But so I sent this guy an email, and I said, of course I'm not going to agree with you. Clearly I have an issue with this. You came on my page, and I'm not apologizing for what I said to you or what has happened, but I'm deleting it, and I hope we never talk again. And he came back at me. I hope you learned something. I have a lot of friends in Vancouver. You better watch your career, bitch. I'm like, oh yeah, a couple of your trashy female friends that you give free tattoos to because they blow you are coming after me. Shut up. So I went back after, and so it was this email exchange. But then eventually, I just started getting snarky and funny. He had a guy come on my thing, and he was he wrote, and I think it's still up. He goes, innocent until proven guilty, and I'm like, oh my God, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Thank you for opening my eyes.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So then I'm like, no, this is how I have to get to this guy. This will get under his skin to see that he's not affecting me, and I'm making a joke out of him. So I kept emailing back, and I'd be like, I wouldn't have, I'm so glad that you came after me, and I should really definitely keep my bitch mouth shut next time.
Why he said that?
Yeah. Well, he just kept going at me. So
what?
then he goes, so I said, listen, I just wish I never met you. I'm going to pretend you don't exist. Please pretend that I don't exist. And then he sends another one back, and he goes, yeah, it was the last time we talk. And he's like, you're really keeping this going. I'm like, I think it's impressive by how long you're keeping this going.
No
and that was
shit.
the last one. But
yeah.
I shouldn't let these people get it to me. I've had trolls before come after me. But it was this issue that really bothered me. I'm not talking about every single sexual assault case in history. I'm talking about this one.
Particular one?
And he kept on saying, how do you know what this guy is like? And I hate to say this, but I know women that have gone on dates with Jayme McDonald, and they say he's a creep. I had a Twitter fight with Jayme McDonald.
So you've had personal interactions.
I've never met him in real life. But he attacked me on Twitter because I kind of sent a snarky tweet. I started it, whatever, but he came at me. But I mean, it's those kind of men, like that guy. You're aggressive. You don't like when women speak their mind. Of course, I'm going to call you a rape sympathizer and a lie.
Well, okay, because I know I got you all round.
I get really riled up.
I specifically asked because I wanted to.
You wanted it. You wanted to. Yeah. We're in a peaceful place, and I'm like,
it's all about ratings. Yeah. Yeah. No. Okay. Here's what I want to chat about. Okay. Because if I was to be perfectly honest, I'm in a weird spot with this trial because I feel personally that I saw something on Reddit that kind of summarizes how I feel a little bit.
Okay, first of all, Reddit is full of middle-aged white guys who have issues with women, so don't get... Okay.
Wait.
Okay, I'll listen. Sorry.
Kathleen
I like
McGee.
Reddit too, but I've
McGee.
seen some stuff on there that I'm like, wow, there's a lot
where I
of
get all my news.
McGee,
assholes on here.
I am not an aggressive male, as we just described. I'm just going to...
Yeah.
So I saw this thing that said, it's entirely possible to believe the witnesses, to dislike the overall verdict, and then also think that in due process the acquittal was within its realm of fair trial. Because here's why I feel about this. Okay, I fucking hate people that prey on other people. I hate. I really dislike the environment that perpetuates that. Okay, but for me, the rule of law is so important to me because I take it out of context, out of sexual assault cases, out of rape, out of things like that. I take it into account of like the thing that keeps billionaires and trillionaires from turning us into like a slave class, all of us, okay, in North America, Europe, Africa, Asia, you name it. The same thing that keeps them from doing that, the rule of law, is the same thing that all people who are being tried for crimes are, like the thing that keeps them from doing that. It's a very sanctified situation. And I feel so fucking weird talking about this because it's like, I do not agree with Gomeshi. I don't think anything he did was right. I think he's fucking guilty.
Of course
I do.
He is.
Everybody
knew that. His lawyer knew that. Everybody knew.
Of course. But I feel like to be rational, like to remove the emotion from it, if the criteria that we keep to have a guilty verdict is held up across all cases, it needs to be consistent, right? And I feel like, and this fucking sucks because I love the Trailer Park Boys. I love Lucy. I love Sarah. Those are like awesome people, fucking awesome, super awesome. But then like when you see that, if you read the entire judge's summary and he's like, okay, I mean, I saw you say something like you're perpetuating an environment
where women will not come forward.
Right. And I agree.
Because the system is flawed.
And
I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
And I get what you're trying to say is that under the court system, yes, the lawyer that was for the women was a piece of garbage. He didn't do his job.
That
he was
prosecutor
terrible.
sucked.
I think his lawyer, it disgusts me that it was a woman. That was completely a tactic, and I'm creeped out that she took that case. I think she's a horrible person, and you will not. I read about her too.
Yeah.
I read as soon as I heard he got a female lawyer. I read this big article about her. She's extremely intelligent, extremely driven, but holy shit.
Yeah, like
think of your sisterhood. Think of like you're gonna help this man get away with what he got away with. It's just, and she, of course she did, because she's way smarter than. She's a woman. She's smarter than most of those guys. But,
right, exactly. Yeah.
But the thing is, the system is flawed. The system is.
I agree.
And I'm not trying to be like a feminist, like bitch here, but it is so in favor of males. It is.
I mean, maybe in sexual assault cases,
but that's
you
the
couldn't
one
tell
I'm
me
not
like
talking about murder. I'm not talking about
divorce.
robbery.
No,
I'm
no,
not talking
divorce.
about divorce.
Divorce is like the only real inequality.
I think I agree that I think it's bullshit that a woman can take half of a guy's things. Like,
yeah.
I know that. Like,
I agree with you. Like,
I 100% agree, and I don't think that women should get to just have the kids every time. Like, I think, but I'm talking about when it comes to a sexual assault, and when they went after those women, no woman is ever gonna. Like, I never reported mine, but I also thought for 5 years that it was my fault. I thought that I was a drunk slut and that I,
wow,
and
that's awful.
Exactly. But if you listen to what I'm having, that's exactly what happened to these girls. And when they were like, well, why didn't you go straight to the police after it was done? And the girl said, because I wanted to go home. Mm-hmm. Because it's a horrible thing, and you have no idea what just happened to you, and your brain can't process it. Mm-hmm. The guy that did it to me and his cousin or whatever, he emailed me 2 weeks later and told me, I want to take you to Vegas. And I was like, maybe I'll go.
Wow.
But
what was the mentality behind that?
I don't know. I can't explain it. I was just like, I was trying to justify. I'm like, well, maybe then I know why he was doing that, and it's exactly why Jian Ghomeshi kept all those. Who keeps all those emails for 10 years? Who does that? Unless you know you're a creep and you did something wrong. And so what rapists and sexual assaulters, especially people that are like date rapists or people that you know, like violent rape where you're in an alley and some guy jumps on you, that's a whole other thing. I'm talking about when you go on a date with a guy, when you know him and he manipulates you.
Yeah.
Bill Cosby and Jian Ghomeshi, two people that used their power to force women to do stuff that they didn't want, but they thought they wanted because they wanted to be with Jian Ghomeshi because he was this person. He abused his power.
Yeah.
And it's to think that he's innocent at all. You're a bonehead idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
and
no
he's not
way.
innocent. No, he's not. He's not
and
innocent.
That's where the system is so flawed that. I mean, if someone said
agree,
you get raped and now you have to go through a trial and sit and they question everything about you and they talk about super uncomfortable things and you have to be truthful and you have to be honest and you have to say these things in front of your family because your family's there to support you. You have to say all this stuff in front of your family. And rape is one of the most embarrassing things that can happen to a woman. And so if they can, there's no way of proving that you've been raped unless you go straight to the hospital and get a rape kit. But that never happens on date rapes. That's a thing. That happens when you've been assaulted in an alley, when it's been violent and it's been scary.
Like a surprise kind of.
Yeah. That's when you go and get a rape kit. When you go on a date with a guy that you think is going to be maybe a boyfriend at some point, and he forces you down and he fucks you, you don't go and get a rape kit because you don't know what just happened to you.
I know.
And so it's so flawed, and they need to take into account how victims act afterwards. And I was in contact with my rapist. So when they were saying, oh, she's not in contact with her rapist, that's when I got really upset. And I put this thing on Facebook. And then my family didn't know what happened to me. My mom didn't know. So then I let that out. And then my mom found out. And the reason I didn't want my mom to know. That's how she
found out?
Yeah. Well, I didn't want her to ever know because I knew it would upset her.
Yeah. I mean.
But it's just, I think the good thing that's come out of all this crap is that women know that if it happens to you, people will support you.
Yeah, big time. That's the thing. I feel like, again, fully, I support. I don't know. I feel awful that all this stuff happened. I feel awful But
feeling awful doesn't make it better for those women that it happened to.
Yeah, but I'm not on the hook for that.
No.
But as a man though, I feel weird. Like I have people.
You should feel weird.
Well, I have people close to me that have been sexually assaulted.
Everybody does. Everybody in this room knows somebody that's been sexually assaulted.
Right. And I know you, and hearing how vulnerable you are about what happened to you makes me feel awful. I feel awful to hear that. I want to go back to that time you were dealing with that and talk to you about it or something like that. I want to help you.
There's probably so many, because I've never dealt with it actually. And I've never, like I said, I didn't know for 5 years. I was just at my friend's house one night and we were talking about shitty dates that we'd been on.
Yeah.
And I told her this whole story and I'm like, yeah, and they took me to this acreage. I thought I was going to die. So I just let them do whatever they want to me. And then they took me for breakfast.
And they were like, hold on.
And then my friend was like,
yeah.
What? And I was like, yeah, they just did that. I was so drunk. It was it was so stupid of me. And she was like, no, they raped you. And I literally lost it because I just I finally realized they did. And then meanwhile, I don't even know that guy's name. I've blocked all that shit out. And I bet you if I saw his face, I would know who he is. But the thing was, I met him online and I went and met him and it was me. So I kept on saying in my mind, well, this was all my fault. I went and met these guys. I shouldn't have met them. I shouldn't have gotten so drunk with them. I shouldn't have gone with them. I should have gone up to the bouncer and said, don't let me leave with these guys. But
I mean, those are all your post justifications.
And why do women have to do all this shit?
That's a great question because realistically, it should just be support from the beginning. I think if there's any positive thing that can come out of this is that speaking out in the way the people are speaking out right now and the believe the victims, that type of movement. Next time something like this happens, and that's the unfortunate situation, is that when it happens again, and it will happen again. Here we go, a little wave, right on cue, right in the heavy moment.
Perfect time.
Yeah. Some guy outside on the street for those of you guys just listening. Right. What was I saying? Fuck.
Well, when something like this happens again.
Yeah, when it happens again, hopefully the attitude of people involved are much more supportive and they're much more I don't know, they have their coordinates a little bit straighter, that they can go ahead and get the people the help they need, because I don't know, it's crazy as fuck.
I even had a guy posting about, like, I've been with women that like to be choked before, and they ask for it and blah blah. So what am I supposed to be worried that the next day they decide they didn't like it? Like Patrice O'Neal has a bit that I think is really funny that is about like getting a consent text the next day. Like, I had a great time. Yes, she's not good. She can't accuse me of raping her. I had a great time. Woo! And that's the thing though, is that consent is such a thing that's like, and guys are like, so I have to ask every girl now? Yes, because clearly it has been fucking up, and it's not a good thing. Like, so this guy was saying, oh, I've had girls that like to be choked and blah, blah, blah. So what am I supposed to do? Get him to sign a form every time? And I was like, you know what? Do you want to get AIDS or pregnant? No. So what do? You wear a condom. It's an inconvenience to a fun time, but you do it anyway. So maybe if you're into that kind of thing and into that lifestyle, maybe print up some forms. I'm not even kidding. You have to, like...
Who's responsible on the date? Who's responsible for doing that?
Both people.
So let's say we're on a date.
Yeah.
I have several like permission slips essentially.
I'm not talking about. You're getting too. I'm talking about like when you go on Adult Friend Finder. I have friends like this.
Okay.
And you're looking for someone to do bondage with you, because that's what you're into.
Wouldn't the paper trail of that just be enough?
It should be, but still, like you need to. I don't know. I've been in bed with guys and they've choked me, and it really terrifies me when that happens, because that happened to me with those two guys.
Yeah.
I had a boyfriend do it to me. I started crying, and then he was like, "Oh my God." He's like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know." And like, because it's just like...
It's shocking. Well, first of all...
And it's so in porn, so like girls watch it and be like, well, I want this... That's another thing. We're so emotional. We just want someone to love us. Guys like fucking for fucking. And yes, I fuck people just for fun.
Yeah.
But like, when you're sleeping with a person that you want... If you're going on a date, that means that you see potential of something bigger with this person, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're sleeping with a person that you've been on a date with, and then they start doing really horrible... I had an experience with this guy that I had a really big thing for. I really, really liked him, and he was really rough. Like, too rough. I didn't know how to say no, because I wanted him to like me.
Oh, weird.
So I wouldn't say that was a rape, but he pulled hair out by the clumps by pulling my hair.
Yikes.
So it's not a rape, but it's not a fun experience either.
It's just like a communication kind
People
of thing.
You have to communicate. And if guys can't, it's the same as wearing a condom. If you don't wear a condom, then you can deal with the consequences. If you don't ask a girl, is this okay? Is this okay?
Yeah.
Then deal with the consequences of being accused of rape.
Should it be step by step? Let's fix the world right now, okay? Kathleen McGee. Let's figure this out.
If you're gonna choke someone, ask them.
Should it? Okay.
Why is that such a difficult?
No. I'm just trying to get the. Let's figure out a set of rules.
Figure out all the world's problems. Yeah.
No, but like, should it be like one? Because I think that there's like dangers with like the blank check permission. Because like, let's say I say
and
like,
there's a safety word.
We're gonna
all
have
this stuff.
we're gonna have rough sex. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Then we have sex, and then you're like, that was a little too rough. But I'm like, but you said yes, and then we get these weird like interpretations of consent, and then like,
I think what it comes down to is I don't think any of those girls left Giangomeshi's house not crying, not in tears, not if a girl is leaving your house in tears, you better watch out. She has every right to go to the police.
Yeah, I mean
unless you like
I can't see that ever turning out good. Yeah,
like I don't know. Maybe I know I'm like, it's such a gray area, and that's what's so fucked up about it. Mm-hmm. Because yes, there are women that have accused men of raping them and nothing happened, and it was a vindictive thing because women are vindictive. But you cannot say that every woman is a liar just because some women have lied about it.
And I would never say that. I think the guy that came at you online, that troll,
I said, is this hitting too close to home?
It's like
has this happened to you before? And I feel like, it's happened to him before.
I would guarantee.
Like the pendulum of rationale. It just sometimes it swings too hard both ways. Mm-hmm. Like it goes like that guy epitomizing everything you're talking about. Like he's aggressive, he's insulting.
Just proving my point.
Yeah, he's a lot of things that are upsetting. The way we're talking right now, and we're just discussing it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that nuance is hard to capture online, obviously.
Oh,
with,
yeah,
like, text.
You can't get tone.
But fuck that guy for the way he was treating.
I'm just like, why would you
online.
attack somebody on that day, first of all, and try and change my mind about women? Like, clearly I'm upset. And I probably said some things that were rude and mean, but fuck you. It was my Instagram, and you came on here. I didn't even know who this guy was. I don't even think he was following me.
Oh, his Instagram?
Yeah, it was Instagram.
I thought it was like Facebook.
Facebook, I had this guy come on, and he's a dink. He's a shitty comedian from Edmonton, and he's a lawyer. And he came on because I said the lawyer is a monster, and he's like, well, why is she a monster? Because she did her job. And I'm like, no, because she took the case. Period. Yes, she did her job, and she's good at it, but she's a monster because she took the case.
That'd be like if Johnny Cochran was black, right? Before he died. Still black, right? Okay, anyway. It's like, but Johnny, yeah, okay. What? That was a weird
That is a weird question.
Line. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, anyway, he's still black. Anyway,
yeah.
That'd be like if Johnny Cochran defended, like, David Duke.
Yeah.
Or some shit like that in, like, a racism trial.
Yeah.
And he's, like, really trying to prove that he's not racist. Like, you're taking one against the team, essentially. You know, like it's very weird that but I don't know. We had a lawyer on. We had a lawyer on last week.
Yeah.
And the cloth that you need to be cut from to do it well. You have to be a special
person to be a lawyer.
Yeah, you have to be intelligent enough to know your fundamentals.
Yeah.
But then also you have to be able to
turn off emotions
a little bit. Like I don't know. I think sometimes that same mentality, instead of becoming lawyers, sometimes they become like I don't know, like the baristas or where the fuck people that make your coffee, if they have that, those are the vindictive fucks that will sometimes just like
spit in your coffee,
write your name wrong, that kind of shit,
make fun of you. I think what the biggest thing is, like, if you're wondering as a guy, just think about what would happen. Do you have sisters?
I have a sister. Yeah.
Do you have a sister?
No, I do not.
Well, think about your sister or your mom.
Yeah,
or
that's the first thing I think of. Actually, as a guy,
wife or whatever, and think about that, something like that happening to her, and how you would deal with it, and how you would deal with people not believing her.
Well, that's the thing. Like, from a guy's perspective, I mean, I don't want to speak for Mike, but for myself, when I hear about stuff like this, almost immediately as a man, it's almost immediately like I think about how it affects women around me. Almost immediately, because that's the only. I mean, if you go back to like a tribal sense, like the protective vibe, like just the natural instincts kind of thing. When you hear about something awful and tragic like that, the first thing you do is try to relate it to something and then for most people they try to push it out of their heads. But with this, it's been like just nonstop. There's so many different media outlets like covering it, and I don't know. It's awful. I'll say this. Okay, I posted something on social media just to kind of maybe find a conclusion in this a little bit. Get back to some enjoyable high fives and laughter and stuff.
And don't say no and try and convince her.
That's right.
If she says no and you're like, oh, come on, like,
babe.
This will be a good idea.
Oh my God. I had a half an hour of telling a guy to fuck right off.
Just like, babe.
He wouldn't leave.
Babe, just a little bit.
Yeah. It's terrible.
How about just a little bit?
Don't be that guy.
Just a little bit, babe.
Just don't be that guy. Go home and jerk off.
Babe, I can't go home and jerk off. How about just help me out?
Do you know how many people will hate you if they find out that you raped a girl?
Dude, that's the worst thing.
So just
literally,
go home and jerk off.
It's the only thing in prison that people are like, oh, that's pretty bad. Like in prison, people that are like in prison are like, that's pretty fucking bad.
Yeah,
like,
child abuse and rape are like the things
the worst things.
You'll get beat the crap out of if you go to jail.
Rightfully so. Now that being said, there's a couple people in jail right now, very famously over the last few months since the documentary came out, Making a Murderer.
Yeah.
Big social phenomenon, cultural phenomenon. I posted on the day of the Gomeshi thing. I seriously sat with it for like about 5 or 6 hours. I was reading like your reactions. I was reading a bunch of people's reactions. And I was like, okay, trying to explain to you how I was like, well, like rule of law, but fuck this guy. Like I'm trying to.
The thing
right?
is, the different. Are you trying to compare Stephen Avery to Jayme
McDonald? Well, no, you couldn't
because Stephen Avery doesn't have a history of being a complete piece of shit.
I mean, he does kind of. He does. Like, and I'm an Avery. I mean, he lit an animal on fire, a cat.
Yeah, I know.
I love cats. He also brandished a weapon in the beginning.
He's also from a low-income white trash family that did not have a good education. His nephew has got mild retardation. You can tell. And we're huge supporters. Yeah, we're huge supporters of those defendants. Jayme is a very intelligent, very articulate man. Yeah. And if you're telling me that this guy can't figure out how to rape a bunch of women and get away with it.
I mean, he's definitely got like a Ted Bundy kind of vibe, doesn't he?
He is. He's a sociopath.
should I say allegedly? I don't know. Like
he abused his power, just like Bill Cosby did, just like plenty of celebrities that it's not out there yet.
Many celebrities.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I was gonna say is like the same thing that makes me pissed off that those guys are doing jail time right now. Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey. Same thing. That rule of law. That fucking system, despite I know it's the American system versus Canadian justice, but North American justice, if we could just say it like that. The same thing that put them in jail, not following the rule of law, is the same thing that, like to be outraged at one and then be okay with the other is like feels weird to me because the whole reason I'm mad that they're doing time is because a bunch of law enforcement officials and people within the judiciary system conspired to put them in jail. Whereas like if you just switch those names around and you had someone conspire to put someone in jail, there's very good chance, and I'm telling you, I know this in my head, I know that Gomeshi's a fucking piece of shit, and I know that.
He's proven to be one.
And again,
Who keeps emails from 10 years ago saying, I loved everything we did? Who does that?
Did they say they were from like Hotmail or something?
I still have a Hotmail.
It's from a Yahoo.
I'm not ashamed of it. I love my Hotmail.
What was I saying? Oh, like, I don't know. Basically, I'm trying to come to the point of like, I just wish the law would work the way it's supposed to.
I just hope that something good comes out of this, where the law changes maybe a little bit. Where instead of
what would you like to have?
I don't even know what you can do to change it, but you need to make it a little bit more like it. You have to understand that victims behave irrationally when weird things happen to them. And like I said, if it was a violent, scary rape where you didn't know the person, that's a lot easier to prove than, I went on a date with this guy, and then we got really drunk, and then I didn't want to have sex, but I went back to his place still, and then I did this, but he had sex with me, and I didn't want to have sex. I knew I didn't want to have sex, but I felt like I had to. And like, he used his power, like he threatened women's jobs, and fuck this guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I just hope that he never I hope his life is miserable for the rest of his life.
I'm fucking mad that I used to really like Moxie Fruvis growing up.
That's what I said when we had our Twitter war.
Yeah. I was
was tweeting about female comedians. I'm like, you never have female comedians on Q. And then he goes, I've had Catherine O'Hara. I'm like, that's one woman. And then, so I just kind of went a little bit, and I can be a snarky bitch. I'll admit it. I can be. That's probably why I'm single, because I treat relationships like they're a roast. But I do. It's terrible. Guys are always like, God, it's not fun to fight with you, because I just get really... Anyway. But yeah, so he was tweeting at me, and then he was getting mad at me, and I was like, dude, calm down. Moxie Fruvis was my favorite band in grade 7.
Once I was the king of Spain.
Nope.
Now I rape women.
Jesus.
He's a terrible person, and I have no problem saying that he's a terrible person.
He is fucking awful. You know, it's one thing people don't think about, or I should say, sometimes males don't really consider, is the idea that like we have a lot of like walking home from this podcast tonight.
Yeah.
We're in like the most gentrified part of the city right now, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. We're like a block from chaos and a block from heaven.
That's what I love about Vancouver.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Like,
but let's say...
I feel safe walking down in Zombieland, though.
Well, let's say we went our separate ways and you went down Zombieland. What's going through your mind going through Zombieland is not going through our minds. Even if we feel like, this is kind of sketchy and concerned, I'm not thinking I'm going to be raped.
Yeah,
I'm not, exactly. Like I'm like, oh, they want my wallet or my cell phone or something. But I'm not thinking like,
they want my vagina.
Oh, they're gonna like sexually assault me or something.
Dick.
They want my dick. Some crackheads are like, get it, get that dick.
Yeah,
it's I don't know, and because of that, you know, as light of this as we're making, that mentality, that rationale is the whole. That's the basis of it right there. It's like there's two worlds. We're living in two different worlds, and it's fucking crazy.
I did get a lot of messages, and like I saw on Facebook like posts from men that are good guys that are like that said great things, that said we believe you, like when and we know. I mean, it's not terrible being a woman. It's actually kind of fucking awesome. But I mean, like there's some really great things. Just like there's probably great things to being a guy and terrible things to being a guy. And we all just have to understand that, like, you know, we have to protect each other. You have to have, like, you can't be preying on other people. You can't be preying on other humans and using, to get your rocks off. It's ridiculous.
It's weird. It's
really weird.
It's one of the weirdest things about humanity that one group of humans tries to control another group of humans.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's very strange.
It's the same with racism. It's the same with anything like homophobia. There's always a group that wants to bring another group down, and it's like, why? Like, why does it matter who I love, or why does it matter what color my skin is? Like, does that really bother you that much that I have a different color of skin, or my face looks different than you, or I have different genitals? Like,
it's fucking super strange.
So only stuff like this is going to make things better eventually.
Eventually, yeah. Well, I hope that, exactly. Yeah, I hope conversations like this open the dialogue up a bit. Yeah. Because, if
you wouldn't have talked about this as openly with me 10 years ago.
No.
I probably wouldn't have wanted to talk about it.
Actually, and to tell you the truth, from what I've been exposed to in the last 10 years, I probably would have not been as like engaging or open. I'd be like, well, some people,
some women are real bitches,
just
some guys are
really
real assholes.
awful. Yeah, and just be really awful.
Conversation over.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, aren't you glad we met? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're a real great guy.
But I feel like there's this nice kind of, I know it's fucking hard to put a good face on this, but there is this kind of nice dialogue opening.
There will be positive things that come out of this, and that's what you have to hold on to. Like, this monster is walking free, but
for now,
there's another trial. It's a sexual harassment trial. I just hope he isn't able to sue the CBC and get back pay.
All the funding that Trudeau just gave him.
Oh, if he gets that, then I'll be even more pissed, because I want that money for my career, not your stinking career.
I think the highest payout maybe in history, because we had that lawyer on last week, Guy Clark. He was talking about David Milgaard. I think David Milgaard got like $23 million, and he did like 20 years in prison unlawfully. So. If he can get that for that, I think that I don't know what the max payout on that, but I don't think public opinion would allow this to take place. I know you'd think that with criminal, the way things just went. Yeah, but I don't.
Well, it's the same thing with OJ.
In a civil trial,
his civil trial, he was destroyed in that. But doesn't that make you angry though?
Of course, be fucking furious.
You're guilty of the crime in one court, but you're not in another, and it's just
ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's flawed. The system is flawed, and it needs attention, and it needs. I mean, how long have the laws been the way they are? Well, it's completely different now. A different time. A different. I didn't think the world would be the way it is 10 years ago. I didn't think that it would be so socially acceptable to be a man that wants to be a woman, and people are accepting these things now.
Yeah. That was a comedy routine.
The world changes, The world, if you watch Eddie Murphy Raw or Eddie Murphy Delirious, which are the ones that those were the first stand-up specials I saw. When people ask who I was influenced by, definitely Eddie Murphy is one of them.
They're rough to watch in groups.
Homophobic. And it's very uncomfortable to watch them. Yeah. And you find yourself laughing. You're like, I'm a terrible person.
Dude,
but that was 20 years ago or something?
It's a different era.
30,
but that just shows you that the world changes, the world grows, and you can't keep these archaic laws and this archaic system. So we need to figure out a way to make it so that if you rape somebody, you get in trouble.
I agree with that. And I think with respect to the level of change that's occurred in 25, 30 years, I think the same... Let's say progression has always moved at the same pace through history. I think the same thing that used to take 300 years now takes 30 years, and eventually we'll get it down to 3.
Oh yeah, well, technology, right? Everything. Yeah. We're gonna be not driving. Everyone's like, "Oh, those cars aren't gonna happen in our lifetime." I'm like, "They're gonna be here in 10 years."
Yeah.
It's very.
I'm gonna get in my car. I'm gonna take me to Calgary, and it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind that that's gonna happen.
Did you guys see that mass crazy fucking transit thing the other day? It's did you see this?
Did they want to do a speed train from Vancouver to Toronto?
Yeah, the Hyperloop.
The Hyperloop.
But it's so funny because they're in 3 hours, and you're like, well, it takes 4 hours to fly. You're 1 hour.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, if it was on time, SkyTrain or something like that, I'd be like, well, okay.
I think Canada's really dropped the ball on rail transit. They really need to if you go to Europe, that's how you get around, and you need to have rail transit and air so that it's competitive. I fly all the time, and it is so expensive. And ridiculous.
Well, a couple of years ago, for Christmas, I decided that I was like, oh, I'm gonna save some cash. Not gonna go on the Greyhound though. I'm gonna take a train.
Oh, you're not gonna save cash on the
I'm
train.
gonna save.
Yeah, the stupidest thing I've maybe
It's
ever.
like $800 to go from Vancouver to
a day.
Edmonton. Yeah,
Although you
I did it
can-
once on the. Yeah.
You can do like you can sit. It's a 24-hour ride. You can sit and it's like 150, but it's awful. Like you don't want to
Yeah.
sit for 24
You
hours.
can't move. You can't go to like the booze cart and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You're in that
Yeah.
fucking chair.
Nah. I keep
May
thinking,
as well take the damn Greyhound.
Yeah.
I took a train from Toronto to Halifax once. Like Yuck Yucks gave me like they had all these coupons from Via Rail because they sponsored the Canadian Comedy Awards or something. And so my booker was like, "Hey, do you want to take the train?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, of
So it
course.
was like a 2-day train, and I got a sleeper car, and it was really fun. But yeah, like I couldn't afford that on my own.
That's
No.
ballin'. Yeah, I think for I was just trying to go from Vancouver to Winnipeg, and it was like, oh, it's gonna be like $11,000 or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like Canada is such a big space. There's so much space. Build some high-speed railway. Like I grew up in Edmonton, and for years they've been talking about why don't they have like a high-speed railway between like the bottom of Alberta to the top. You could work in Fort McMurray and live in Edmonton still, or Calgary. Like to have a 1-hour train
Yeah.
between Edmonton and Calgary. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah. What was the name of that thing?
The Hyperloop.
Hyperloop. Do you know
It's
anything about
it's
that?
the Elon Musk like Tesla motor.
Tesla.
like,
Yeah.
Teslas are cool. I sat in a
That's
Tesla
all.
once.
That's all that guy's.
Yeah.
Jam.
You sat in a Tesla?
Yeah, they had a Tesla dealership in Santa Monica. And I just was walking around with a friend, and we went and looked at them. They're really, and this was like 3-4 years ago, and they're like even better now. But it's pretty crazy how like how like you can't really drive it far because there's nowhere to. But I think that's changing.
It's like kind of the invisible tether, so to speak. You know, I don't know. It's fucking crazy about that, but like the world is moving towards driverless vehicles.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Some people are scared. I can't wait.
I'm not.
I'm
at
not
all.
scared at
I can't
all.
wait.
I
Like,
can't
it
fucking
will
wait.
be awesome.
I can't wait.
One of my friends, Toby, he's a comedian in town. He has
Toby Hargrave?
Yeah, he just bought like one of those Subaru Outbacks, and they're not as ugly as they used to be. It's actually really nice. But it has, if you just take your foot off. Oh my God, there's a baby kangaroo. Sorry.
On the video behind us, yeah.
If you just take your foot off and steer, your car will drive. It will stop. It will accelerate. And I was like, what? And so he showed me, and we were like driving. And then he's like, watch this. And we got close to a car. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then it stopped. I'm like, it's going to take, people are going to be very nervous and scared of it at first. But I think it's going to change. I think there's going to be less, like almost no drunk driving. I think accidents aren't going to happen as frequently.
Big time.
Texting and driving. Like there's so many.
Well, you will be able to text and drive
You
because
will be.
you won't be driving your car.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for it to happen. If I can just get in the car and be like, take me to Toronto, oh, it's going to be amazing.
Computer, take me to Toronto.
It's going to be so awesome.
I want them to put in like a robot that just
Robot?
like sits at the thing. So
Yeah, your
it's
little
there. It's like a little
driver.
driver.
Yeah.
And you can name it. It's like Siri.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be the best.
His name would be Argyle or something.
Or, yeah, something weird.
Argyle, take me to Toronto.
It's going to be, I'm excited for weird shit to happen.
Totally.
Yeah.
I was waiting for flying cars, and they haven't happened yet. Why isn't Back to the Future told us they'd be here by now?
Flying cars opens up so many fucking issues with respect to like it just, it's funny, it just flies literally in the face of all of like our building, basically all our infrastructure in the city.
Yeah.
It's like, let's build these giant skyscrapers that are like, basically obstacles for all our eventual flying cars.
And all
Like,
these, so instead of like car accidents, there's going to be building accidents.
Totally.
Where they, like, crash into buildings.
and it'd be like, remember when 9/11 was awful? Nah, that's just like, yeah.
That happens on a weekly basis now.
Weekly, yeah.
It's
Exactly.
Terrible. It's terrible.
And the buildings didn't fall. Conspiracy.
Worst.
Kathleen, you're fucking hilarious. We
Thank
love you.
Sorry it got so dark, but
no,
you brought it up.
No, I did.
That's
Usually I'm a fun time.
You are actually.
thank you for the funniest podcast of all time.
I'm really glad we touched on that though, because like I'll tell you what, in the time capsule that this will become in its own medium, essentially, I want this to be on the record. So when people look back, you can be like, hey, I publicly spoke out about this stuff, and we had a rational conversation
I
about
don't
it.
want to do it anymore on Facebook. I was just or
See?
Instagram or anything. It was,
I didn't want to exhaust you on social media, so I wanted to have you.
Don't
do it.
debate me on social media because I'll take
Ever.
everything personally, and I won't hear your tone.
I'll send a fucking email.
And yeah, I'll get mad. I'm a very stubborn person. I'm an Aries, okay? Like, I'm a very stubborn, hot-headed person. So if you want to discuss something, do it to my face.
That's right.
That's my other rule on my Instagram and everything. If you're going to comment on my Instagram or my Facebook, if you're going to say something like gross sexually to me, because it happens all the time. I'm fine, whatever. But if you are going to say that kind of stuff, you better be able to say that to my face.
That's right.
I feel like that should be everybody's rule. I think I talked about this on my podcast that I do, so people are going to hear this 2 times. I think that should be everybody, if you're on social media and I got this comment, think about it. Think about who you're saying it to, and think if you would say that to their face, and if you wouldn't, don't comment.
Don't say it, yeah. That's pretty much my rule with everything.
It should be everybody's rule. Unfortunately, it's not.
You're also you on social media. You have to remember.
I'm very honest and I'm very me.
But like your name.
Yeah.
You're like, you are you, right?
Yeah.
Whereas
there's
like
no hiding behind
you're
me.
like talking to like Fly Guy 92 or some shit, you know?
Yeah. And
that
then
guy,
I look like a bitch because I go after this guy, but I'm like,
don't be such a cunt.
Yeah, you're hiding behind, like, you have no pictures of your face. You have no.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
outspoken.
you're you. Yeah, you're being held to like a different standard.
Yeah.
But I mean, fuck all that.
Fuck all that.
You're hilarious.
Thank you.
Let's talk about you're doing a tour coming up. It's called the Deserted.
The Deserted Island tour with Sandy Danto.
Dessert like
with 2 S's.
Like
that's how you know if it's desert or dessert.
The sweet treats.
Because you want a second helping of dessert.
Deserted. Okay.
So we're gonna eat in Nanaimo bars. It's all on Vancouver Island. We're gonna be out there from April 6th or 7th till the 16th or 17th.
Next week,
yeah. And I'm in when does this come out?
Friday. So
I'm in Calgary on Friday at the UFC.
So tonight,
I'm in Calgary at the UFC campus. I think the bar is called The Den. I'm there. And then on Saturday, my best buddy's band, one of my best buddies, his band, the Adavans, are playing.
Oh, you know the Adavans?
I've known Billy like since I started comedy.
What?
Do you know Billy?
We are actually really tight with Tim from Rocket from Russia. He's a good friend of ours from college. And I just saw today that Adavans are going to be playing on the new Rocket. Is that the show?
On Saturdays, April 2nd.
Is that the same show?
It's got the Old Wives, Youth Decay.
Yeah, Youth Decay. Yeah.
Come to that. It's my birthday weekend, you guys. Because
That's hilarious.
I'll be in Calgary. Then Saturday I'll be at that concert.
That's our boys' show.
I'm having a house party.
Yeah,
come to that show.
The promoter. Yeah.
It's gonna be so. The Adavans did the song for my podcast.
Did they?
The Adavans.
That's awesome.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They're awesome. I love them.
Yeah, they're pretty rad. We're. I think we have a lot of mutual friends.
Probably.
Well, it's the fucking scene.
It's the scene.
I'm not
even that in the music
boy.
scene. But yeah.
I'm not breaking any news here.
I do write for Beetroot, so I've gotten to meet some cool people.
You do? We didn't even get into this.
I got to meet Brass. They were really good.
Oh, fuck.
I like Brass.
Will you come back on the show and tell us about that?
I would love to come back. I live here, and so we don't have to do phone interviews.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. When we were booking this, I was like, oh, I think the audience would really love you. Do you want to come do the show? And you're like, is there any possible chance we could do it over the phone? And I was like, oh, we have all these nice cameras and stuff. Do you not want to come down? And you're like, oh, I thought you were in Toronto.
Yeah, I thought they were.
I was like, no, we're from the land of yoga pants and cats.
Yeah, I'll come here whenever. I'll float. Once I don't have a tattoo that's fresh.
That's right.
Because that would hurt.
We didn't even talk about that. Yeah.
We can talk about it. I can come back as many times as you want. I like you guys a lot.
You're awesome as fuck.
You guys are fun.
Kathleen, how do we follow you if we're going to follow you online?
You can like Kathleen McGee on Facebook or add me. I add everybody like an idiot.
This is where to harass her.
Yeah, please come harass me. I will block you. I started blocking. I'm like, I don't even care if I've known you for 20 years. You're blocked.
Fuck it.
I blocked my mom. No, I'm kidding. She would kill me if I blocked her. Twitter and Instagram is Kathleen_McGee. And
big fan of the underscore myself.
It's my middle name, so that really helps.
What?
No, it's just a joke. It's
You're
just
so
a dad
silly.
joke.
You're so silly.
And my Snapchat, I started using Snapchat more, but it's kind of embarrassing because I got Snapchat to send dirty pictures. Like, 'cause I thought that's why I got that like 2 years ago.
I'm pretty sure that's.
And I'm like, this is a safe way to send a picture of your boobs to a guy, and he's not going to be able to keep it for later.
Archive it.
Yeah, and so. Not like I've done the old way too. I mean, everything I've ever sent, though, I look at it, I'm like, would I be embarrassed if this got out? And I'm like, no, I look hot.
Yeah, boom.
So my name on Snapchat is The Tits McGee.
Okay. We have a winner.
It's so embarrassing. Now that I'm getting a little older, I'm very embarrassed about how I've acted in the past.
No.
But whatever.
Just so you know, that's the perfect name.
Right?
The Tits McGee.
Everyone calls me Tits McGee anyway.
Is it the Tits McGee?
I just did the Tits McGee because I think Tits McGee was already taken by a quicker.
Some prick job out there.
I bet you her last name's not even McGee.
Nope.
Probably not.
When a girl comes out to me, she's like, all my friends called me Tits McGee. I'm like, yeah, well, that's my name.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, how dare you? Exactly.
how dare you sully my family name, drag it through the mud? Yeah.
You're awesome.
You're awesome.
See, the underscore, I have to tell you, I love it. You can follow me on Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter and whatever the fuck, MD_Boomsday. And if you don't know what an underscore is, ladies and gentlemen, probably don't want you to follow me.
If you don't know what an underscore is, you need to go to school.
Yeah, get the fuck back. So no one knows what an ampersand
Turn on a
is?
computer.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
Once.
Exactly.
that's hilarious. If you don't know, and listen to my
Saavedra.
podcast. You guys should come all. We'll all do it like a group podcast.
That's right. You know what? Everyone should go check out Kathleen McGee is a hot mess.
It's new. The first 4 episodes, the audio is awful, but they're still good. Like I had a debate one about Kanye West.
As a producer,
You heard it, right?
I was like listening from afar, and I was like, it's okay. I know it gets better.
I got tons and tons of. But what happened? I'll tell you what happened. Ari turned it down.
Oh, okay.
Ari's like, turn it down like here, turn it down like here, and then like you won't like
Just like hearing the.
peas, it won't pop and stuff like that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. And then everyone's like, we can't hear anything. And then it was coming in one ear, like I was in one ear and someone, but I taped 4 episodes before I knew what was wrong. And so I still get mad. You gotta fix your fucking audio. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's fixed. Okay? Get off my back.
You're gonna be on episode 200, and someone's gonna just start, and if you listen to it all the way.
What's wrong with the audio?
I don't know, man. The fucking audio, fucking whatever. It's
People
like,
get angry.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
This one girl was like, unlistenable. And I'm like, would you calm the fuck
jeez.
down?
People message us on here. I got a message last week actually because the episode didn't go up until usually it goes up in the morning on Fridays. It didn't go up until 6. And I got a message that was just like, dude, what the fuck? Like I was like, well,
I know people
I don't
take
know.
it-
Like I had shit to do. It says goes up Friday. It doesn't say fucking Friday
It's
morning.
good that people take it seriously, though. It means that people are listening.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like it. So I am any feedback, negative or positive, I'm happy to get. And I have an amazing producer named Jake Hirsch, and he puts it all together in Calgary, and he's.
You're spoiled. You're so
It
spoiled.
wouldn't exist if it wasn't for him.
You're so
Honestly,
spoiled.
I would not be doing it because I'm too lazy and I get distracted. And he has to literally text me on Friday, be like, "Send me the intro and the episode, please."
Please.
Because mine goes up on Mondays.
Kathleen McGee is a hot mess.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Saavedra, if people want to follow you online, how could they do so?
Follow me on Twitter at the Saavedra.
The Saavedra, and that's Saavedra.
I like how you sing it right
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. And C-Mart, we're gonna keep this one going, running gig.
Do you not talk at all?
He does chat, but today he kept
Just sits there in
kept
the
it mute.
corner.
C-Mart,
Clicking away.
should people follow you on? No, okay, yeah. We
Sweet.
every week we're like,
So,
literally the first time I asked him, I was like, should people follow you online? And he says, don't bother. Don't bother.
You have
Yeah.
things to say.
I agree. He's one of the funniest fucking guys ever. He's so good. You can always follow this podcast, guys, intergalacticinterviews.com. You go check that out. We're available on iTunes now, despite all the fuck-ups for the last 9-10 weeks. iTunes, you can also find us on SoundCloud. But for how long is the question? Ooh.
Yeah, SoundCloud's weird. Don't they get you to pay for it eventually?
We're getting...
Are you on Stitcher?
Okay. That's a whole other issue. I'll tell you after the show.
There's so many emotional problems
I
with
know.
the podcast.
Yeah, aren't you glad we've all met?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Brilliant.
And thank you. I wasn't drinking at all, and then I sit down. There's a shot in front of me, and I'm like, well, I haven't drank for so long. I miss it a little
Yeah,
bit.
I thought we broke your streak, but it turns
You
out
didn't.
no. Good.
It was last
Good.
Monday, but
Wait, we didn't plug one more thing. Aren't you doing laugh lines?
oh yeah, Laugh Lines at the end of April. I think the weekend after the 16th, the last weekend of my. It's all online.
Yeah, that's right.
If you
Check it
follow
out.
me, you'll find out. But go to Laugh Lines website. It's like the second last or last weekend in April in
That's
US.
Kathleen McGee, MC capital G, There you go. Ladies and gentlemen.
Capital G.
That's right. I'm a capital D, MC capital D.
People always just little lowercase. I'm like, that's really insulting.
It's super insulting. Fucking, you guys are awesome. Thank you for listening out
you.
there. We are really looking forward to having you guys check us out again next week. Hopefully.
Yay.
I'm not gonna bag for it, you fuckers. Okay. I love you guys. Say goodbye, Kathleen.
Goodbye. Next time I'm here, I'll be happier and funnier.
Okay. See you guys next week.
See ya. Boo.